Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Thing Is. Today I have back with me Rochelle.
Dun, 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 dun.
You've been on this before, so you know what to expect.
Do I? Oh my God, we're going to talk about the same thing again?
No, slightly different this time. So today I brought you on. In fact, I actually I actually specifically chose you for this topic today.
I don't feel like I was warned about this.
You definitely weren't. No, I want to surprise you on camera. So today I want us to talk about...
It's fine, go on.
Okay. Right. So today I want us to discuss, do you think the church has too much influence when it comes to marriages? And the reason I want to ask you is because I feel like you were brought up in that type of environment, similar to myself. And so I want to hear your opinion on it. I want us to talk about that today.
I wasn't warned. I could have anyways, luckily I'm quick on my toes.
So what do you think? Do you think that the church has a lot of influence when it comes to marriages, especially young marriages?
So, I mean, yes, if you are following the Christian way, then yes, it will. Then, if that is what you subscribe to.
Okay. So did you get married in church?
I didn't get married in a church. My ceremony was actually like a boutique ceremony. Like it was in a house, but of course it was officiated by a pastor and that type of stuff.
So were you in a church environment at the time when you got married? Like, were you going to church?
Not really. Was I? I was going, I guess, somehow. But I mean, I wasn't like involved or in like actively being a church person. Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay. Because you got married, the reason I'm asking is because you got married quite young. How old were you when you got married?
I just turned 20.
That's very young.
Yeah.
I was 24. And so I feel like for me, the reason I got married is because, now, don't be coming for me, okay, guys, right? I'm just being very honest here, okay?
It can't come for you.
This is my opinion. So I feel like when you're in church, a lot of the times, instead of, because you're told not to have sex before marriage and stuff like that. So you're encouraged to have relationships, but the end goal of that relationship is to get married. And I feel like it's not something that you can necessarily go around testing what it's like with different people. So you wouldn't date one guy in church and then date another just to kind of see what's out there. And I feel like sometimes that's
what does date? You're using date like you're sounding worldly
or courting. Okay, courtship. Okay, we'll use the word courtship
because even the very word using that like dating, you can't even use that word when it comes to church about.
You say, yeah, it's very true. We do. That's what we used to say in church. You're courting the person.
Like dating now, it just sounds like worldly, which involves, physical, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're courting,
right?
And the aim of you courting is you're going to court for a certain time, and then you plan to marry that person.
Right. That's the point.
But is that the point?
Yes, that's the point.
Is there anything wrong with just being with someone because you enjoy their company? Because technically you shouldn't be doing anything outside of that anyway. You shouldn't be, touching or anything like that. So is there actually anything wrong with seeing a few different people? Because is that not what dating is about?
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're courting, and the thing is though, in the church
world, I feel like it's too heavy too soon.
I know, but this is the thing I find in my personal experience is that in the church world, if you are courting, it's not really a public thing.
What do you mean by that?
It's not like, how in the world, oh my gosh, I'm saying these funny words.
That's why I chose
That's what Christians call it. Christians call it the world, and then you're in church. So the world dating is everyone knows you're dating, you're showing public affection, and everyone knows about it. I think the way traditionally it's supposed to be in the church, anyways, like traditionally, I don't know what it's like now.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, or the more correct way to do it, it's private. Like if you're courting someone, you and that person know that you're exclusively trying to get to know each other, but it's not on like Front Street. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, if people know, I guess they found out, but you're not holding hands, walking into church and you know what I mean? People might be able to speculate, but it might not be confirmed that you're courting or dating. So I'm saying it being private, if you do not end up seeing that this person is the right person for you, you can quietly stop courting. No hard feelings. I guess you never had sex. You're supposed to not have had, right? And the courting session ends, and then you can court someone else.
But don't you think that most people know that you're courting? For me, my experience of courting is that most people know that you're courting with the view to these guys are going to get married at some point. But for me, I feel like it's very heavy in the beginning.
Did you court around?
Dennis. No, I didn't actually. I didn't. And I feel actually...
So what happened? Exactly.
So okay, I'm going to go in real deep here. So the thing about being in a church environment is that the idea is that you don't fool around, right? So you pick someone and you marry them so that you don't
pick someone and you marry them.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. So that you don't fall into that trap of, because obviously we all have feelings, when you're with someone, you want to take things to the next level and stuff like that. So the idea is if you're courting someone, if you think you guys can work out well, you have a couple of maybe sessions of therapy or whatever, counseling, and then you go get married. But I actually think that you should be encouraged to date or court other people, because sometimes you don't know what you're looking for unless you have tried.
And you don't know yourself.
Unless you've tried different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to commit to mangoes if I've never tried a grape or I've never tried a strawberry.
Or eggplant.
Do you know what I mean?
So I mean, this is all under the assumption that the courting participants are virgins.
Yes. Of course it is. Yeah. So yeah,
it changes everything. These are the preliminaries to courting properly in the church.
Right.
So you have to have those in your mind. The idea is that you're both virgins. So the idea is both of you have never had anything to compare anything to.
Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes some of us have gone into the church and we have done things outside. You're not necessarily a virgin.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So these senses are awake, right? So being in a relationship and building a bond with someone, you may be used to certain things that if you hadn't done certain things in the past, perhaps you wouldn't be looking at that. But I just feel like
you should be able to test the bicycle.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that.
Like
I think you shouldn't. I actually think you shouldn't. I think you should keep it clean. But what I'm saying is that I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on you to take the next step. It's like, well, you guys have been dating for a year now, so don't you think it's time that, and there's all these eyes on you to now take the next step to get married.
And that's why it's so important to actually court secretly.
But is that really possible?
I've seen it done.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know, because sometimes you have to stake your claim, because otherwise, I mean, other people are going to be looking, not knowing that person is actually...
And you can look. I'm just saying, how committed is the other person to the courtship? I mean, if he starts taking numbers, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I just feel like when it comes to relationships, you have to give yourself time to see what else is out there, right? Just because you're dating someone, I'm not saying you should be like dating all over the place, but what I'm saying is, even if you take it out of church, I feel that you should give your time to experience other people, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that there's another great person around the corner for you that you haven't experienced yet, friendship-wise or whatever, because you're stuck on this one person that maybe you just get along as friends. That doesn't mean you're meant to marry them.
I kind of feel like without Christians knowing it, I think that they want that to be the point. I think Christians don't actually want you to be exposed to all these options. Because I think in a Christian's perspective, that might bring like all this confusion to a person who's courting or going to get married. Having all these comparisons, I think Christians don't actually want you or their children to be having all these comparisons. I think they actually want you to just know one thing and it's not, you know what I mean?
But then what if that one thing is not the right thing for you?
Yeah.
Because you can pick someone
Possible.
and it doesn't mean that that's the person that you're going to get married to. But I mean, I actually, okay, so let me just clarify because I don't want you guys to jump on me, right? But I actually think that if you go into a relationship inside church, right, I actually think you're really well protected. I actually think it's a good thing. I think you can be steered in the right direction in terms of counseling that you can get. And then maybe perhaps, it's like a church family, right? So
Right.
less is likely to go wrong in that sense. But I also feel that there is a pressure. Once you're courting someone, once you've courted for like 1 year, 2 years, it's time for you to take the next step. And I feel that sometimes it's a little bit rushed and sometimes it can cause things to go wrong later
So
down
I guess
the line.
that's where this whole physical thing comes in, because like you're hot and burning for 2 years.
Right, exactly.
So instead of slipping up and
So you go and marry the person and then potentially that's not your person. And then you're in a
so
situation.
what do you think? Christian parents should encourage their children to not stick to one thing and try other things?
I just, no. Well, I wouldn't put it quite like that. I feel like you should be allowed to have a dating pool. What is the purpose of dating, right? When we look at dating, you're dating to find the one. So just because I'm dating one person does not mean I can't be open to looking at anything else.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you've got to see what's out there. Because if you don't see what's out there, you don't know what you could potentially be missing. Do you see what I mean? I mean, I'm not trying to be crude about it.
But then on the flip side, devil's advocate, it's like, why do you need to know what's missing? Why do you need to know what could potentially be missing? You know what I mean?
Because sometimes there's something more. So you might get along with
But
someone.
that's the thing about life. There's always that
The
something
grass
more.
always seems greener.
There's always that something more. So I think,
Yeah.
and I'm bringing parents into this because if you're going to, as a young person, court, I mean, your parents are probably in church as well, and they're probably like a part of this thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just you as a young person
Right.
sticking to the thing of courting. You probably have your parents who are encouraging you to also follow the whatever procedures or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I think that as a parent, they're okay with you not knowing that you could be richer or he could be funnier,
Right.
or he could be taller.
But do you not think that's... Okay, I mean, we don't care about the height thing. That's just superficial stuff, right? But
Says Della? Is that what you just said, Della? I'm just kidding.
Private joke. Yeah. So I just feel like I feel like there's nothing wrong with dating. Like it shouldn't be taboo to say, I'm dating this person on Monday. I'm dating this person on Thursday. I'm going on a date
Not
with
in the
this
church,
person.
sister.
You
So
see, that's why I'm
as a
saying, does you
church-
feel like there's too much influence there in that sense?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I kind of like that families are trying to bring some sort of structure to that whole thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't like if I could guide my child in the best way to date, I wouldn't want it to be the worldly version.
No, of course
Preferably.
not. No,
If I had to
wouldn't.
choose two versions, I would actually prefer the church version if my child will, you know what I mean, abide or try to do it in that way best possible. I don't like the worldly version. It's just, to me, exposes you to too much that you don't really need to be exposed
Right.
to, right?
I
So
get that.
I guess what you're more so saying, though, is the scary part is you can get into a long-term relationship with someone who is just a bad apple, like literally just a bad
Just
apple.
maybe not your type, and you've
Well,
not
you
explored.
must know that the person's your type.
Okay, but you can get on with someone, but it doesn't mean that person that's not necessarily your person. Do you know what I mean? And you haven't tried anyone else, or you
Yeah, but
haven't necessarily dated outside of that
Fine.
church
I'll add-
to know.
I'll add that it's not a very complex system in the church. When I say complex, they don't necessarily. I'm just trying to think, like matchmaker services, right? They go into depth about who you perceive yourself to be, what kind of roles you think you'll play in the marriage. I mean, I'm sure they do all these in-depth like interviews to really find out.
Oh yeah, they do.
If you know these two people would even make any sense,
Right.
even though they make great jokes together and they look great together and they like hanging out,
Right.
But I'm sure they do like an assessment. And I feel like if the church had like a very comprehensive assessment to see if two people are in the same,
But that's still not going to be foolproof though, right? I think it comes down to the
it's not going
individuals
to be
to
foolproof.
know.
But this is why I'm even saying this again, because I am a fan of arranged marriages.
Me too.
But I'm saying
I
the church,
actually am.
The
Yeah.
church version is similar to an arranged marriage, but
So-
they let the kids choose who they like.
Okay, so now you've hit it on the head. You've hit it exactly on the head. Arranged marriages. I don't know if you this program that I was watching on Netflix where there's this matchmaker. She's an Indian matchmaker.
Yeah.
And she brings, like, you tell her all the things that you're looking for, and then she gets the guy and the girl. She puts them together. You go on a
Right.
couple of dates. You see how you like it. If you don't, then you move on to the next one. And I feel like that's actually really very helpful.
Yeah.
That's really, do you know what I mean? It's really, really good because you get to see what's out there. You see that there's a dating pool and you get to
Right.
pick from
So-
it without it being crude or in a tacky way. But you get to see, actually, you know what? The first guy was actually really good. Do you know what I mean? You haven't necessarily stopped on the first guy. You've got to see what's, okay, I realize that I really don't like
So
this.
this is what I'm saying. The church doesn't have it down to a science.
Yes.
So I get the idea and I get where they're coming from and I like it. But they haven't figured out the kinks and how to help a person deeper than just you like him, he likes you. Okay.
Right,
So
right.
I just feel like they're missing like those components to make it make more sense.
Right.
But I appreciate the direction that they're trying to go in. But as you said, with the matchmaker thing, I just feel like they're missing those elements to really help
I
them
feel like-
get closer to knowing if this is like
Yeah, I actually think arranged marriages are really, really good
Yeah.
because you get the insight of what the family
the
thinks,
family
right?
thinks, what your parents are like.
Exactly. So a little bit like how we as Africans do it, right? You kind of have that, but probably less tense.
So when
I
you
think.
say like the church, do you mean like the entity of the church just pressuring young people or whoever?
I wouldn't say they. Okay, I
Or are you
wouldn't say
talking
they
about mom and
pressure.
dad? Or talking about pastor? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church as a whole, the entity of the church.
So the idea.
Yeah, so if you're in a church, right, it's like a church family.
Right.
So within that family, two people start dating or courting, whatever you want to call it. 2 years down the line, there's always that question. So when are you guys going to take the next step?
Right.
But I feel like it should be okay to say we're going to date for 5 years or whatever we want to do, or actually maybe I think I want to break. I want to see, what else is out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like you should have that freedom.
But then you
to
shouldn't
see-
have to explain this to anybody.
But within the church, that's how it is, though.
So is it like you think the pressure from the parents, or you think the pastor is calling you into the office and saying, look, you two have been walking around here for 2 years in my church.
Okay, so I probably wouldn't say it as direct as that. Because like I said, to give balance, I actually think it's very healthy to get married within the church. But what I'm trying to say is I feel that you should have space to have a dating pool. And your end goal doesn't always have to be, I'm going to marry this person in 2 years' time.
Yeah, but the church, it just doesn't, they don't like things like this. Like, it just looks messy. It looks like everyone's trying everyone.
Right.
And no one can
But if you're
swear.
not doing anything, then what's the problem? Because courting someone is just, it's a form of getting to know someone. We're not necessarily doing anything. We're just hanging out, right?
Alone?
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
do you know what I mean?
I'm just saying, it's like some church circles make sure you're not hanging out alone like that. I mean, maybe sometimes, like, even like, they try to encourage group settings. So, you know what I mean?
keep it safe.
So it's not, so it's not obvious and just keep it safe and stuff like that.
I mean, and I do appreciate stuff like that. I really do. But I just think there has to be space to breathe. I remember even I met a girl a few years back and she was dating this guy within the church. And there was all you heard about was this couple and the fact that they were going to get married soon.
Yeah.
And then I left the church and I didn't go back. I left the church for some time because of whatever reason. And then I saw the girl and then I was like, oh, so did you get married? And she was like, no, we broke up. And I was like, why? She was like, there was just too much pressure on us to get married. And I actually wasn't ready yet.
Right.
And I just feel like there is that pressure to say, right, you've been dating for a while now. You've got to go and get married. And for her, it was just like, I don't want this. So instead of her being able to have, maybe, I'm assuming here, but to have the space to say, you know, I want to take a step back, she decided to break it off.
Right.
Even though she had invested so and so years into this relationship. I just feel like there should be space to move a little bit before you make the decision to marry someone, because if you jump in too soon, you can make a mistake. And nobody wants to be in a situation where they feel that they've made a mistake.
Well, I think that's where the discretion comes in, like dating without people knowing that you're dating.
But then it gives boundaries as well when people know that you're dating.
What kind of boundaries?
It gives boundaries in terms of other people trying to come in, for your safety as well. People kind of check in on you to make sure that you guys are, you know.
Yeah, you tell your mom and your dad.
And then also to go through some type of couples counseling as well. All of that starts to come into play at some point.
So couples counseling for what? For the
The
intention
view
of
to
marriage?
get married.
Okay.
Yes. You see, and I feel like it's very heavy. Very, very heavy at a time. Because I think when I look back now, so I'm going to use myself as an example. So when I look back now, I'm like, really? I always say that I feel like I got married too young because I didn't fully know myself. I didn't fully know what I wanted. And I feel that if
What you're looking for.
Yeah, so if I had been given a little bit more space to say, okay, right,
This is the first person.
Let's see.
Just be friends for now.
Yeah,
Make some other
take
friends.
take it slow and see what else, you know?
Make other friends.
Yeah,
Make other friends.
exactly. I feel like you should be given that space to do that. And I feel like sometimes you're not. So I personally feel that sometimes the church does have a little bit too much influence in that sense. Like there needs to be a balance. It's good, but there still needs to be some type of balance so that you don't get it wrong. With everything, you have to try it, right?
Yeah.
Did you?
But I've been aware of so many situations, at least from the church circle that I'm from.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were a complete shock to the entire church. No one knew that they were dating. Even people who thought that the guy liked them.
Yeah.
They were shocked to see that he got married or the
getting
girl got
married?
married. Right. That's what? I was texting him. But like it's so plutonic that like you cannot tell. Like everyone's just a big friend to everyone. So no one knows who could be the one. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's friends. We all hang out.
You don't think it's hard to keep something like that a secret?
Not really, because like you have your church life, which is when you attend the building. And when you're not attending the building, are you always going to see your church members everywhere you go? Not really.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if you were to get married again, would you accept an arranged marriage?
Oh, at this age, no. Not really, but I'm saying at this age, like, I don't think I need to, because, you know what I mean? I think, too, the purpose of an arranged marriage is to help younger people who might not have all the tools to, make all these decisions or look into the future. I think I'm experienced and old enough to now see where...
And know what you want, right?
Yeah, right? Where a younger person, might not have those insights.
Yeah.
Because you don't have all the experience that we have. So I kind of get that. So not really. Would I have accepted it if I were younger and it was presented? I think I would. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think if there was like a dating pool,
I mean, if he was
think
cute, I'm like, listen, mommy, you got me.
Yeah. So I think for me, I'd probably be open to stuff like that.
Like if I can, like I would, like, not if I can, I'm secretly gonna try, but I want to arrange my children's marriage.
Yeah,
I would love
totally, absolutely. I would want to do. Okay, so let me put it like this to you. So, like, say if I was like, okay, Rochelle, I'm looking for somebody. Could you find 3 guys for me?
Oh, I'm a matchmaker, honey.
I would be open to something like that, and I think that would be really helpful, and I think that'd be a great thing and healthy for you to say, okay, because you know me.
And then I'll allow you to court them in secrecy.
Exactly.
Secrecy.
Right? Because I feel like you would know a certain element of me, like what I like, what I wouldn't like. And you'd give me that space to say, okay, look, these are 3 options that I think would be really good for you. And I'd have the space to date them and see what I liked and what I didn't like. And I still think that's a healthy way to do it. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that.
You just feel like in the church, there's that pressure to just close the deal.
Yeah,
Like, what? I just
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And at the time, though, especially, I want to say young people especially, but in the moment when you're young, you can't possibly see where this could go wrong.
You can't. That's what I'm saying. You really
Yeah.
can't, because all your emotions, your everything in it, and you can't see it. And when you're so young, you think you know. Nobody
Yeah.
can't tell me nothing. I know, because I know I was like that.
And then your
no one
parents
could tell me
agree with
anything.
you foolishly. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
She should be with him forever. Like, Mom, no.
Right, right. So you need space to kind of discover yourself a little bit before you go down that road. Because for me, when I hear that you were 20, I'm like, that is too young. What are you doing? Like, you shouldn't even be legally allowed.
I know.
You know?
For me, though, I grew up immediately and I never thought of it as anything. Like, I became an adult because I was actually pregnant before I got married. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we didn't even know each other like for that long.
But do you think it was the right thing to you have your next step should have been marriage?
No, not really. But,
So did you have a bit of
circumstances.
pressure? Yes. Okay.
No, I didn't have pressure, actually. I didn't have pressure. I didn't have direct pressure, but maybe growing up in the environment, I maybe put the pressure even on my own self.
Your own morals.
My parents never said to me that.
Yeah.
But I was already ingrained in my mind
Right.
that I did want to be married and I don't like this baby mama thingy. And I was like, I don't want to live with a man
So you
either.
put the pressure on yourself.
Right, and that
And
was
were like-
just what was instilled from what I've experienced. So when my parents weren't like, "What are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
they weren't like that at all. I was like, "What am I gonna do?"
That's
Like
very
my
interesting.
own self.
Yeah.
Then my parents were like, "Oh, if you want to, like, okay, we're cool with it."
That's very interesting. Actually, if I think about it for myself, if I was pregnant outside of marriage, would I want to marry that person? Or would I have? I don't think I would have, actually. I think I would have been okay just saying, you know what, I'm just going to do this.
Well, on paper, it was like, "Oh, you have this, I have this. You do this, you do this. My parents are like that, your parents are like that." So it's like, "Oh, this makes sense." Like, but obviously it's not that simple, right?
Yeah, yeah. So do you feel like, not that you did it too young, but do you feel like you had to give up on certain things because you were married so young?
No, not really.
You don't think it affected
no,
you?
No, there's nothing I couldn't have done or whatever, At that time, though, I did get really like heavily back into church, which kind of created a problem as well because when we met, I wasn't really a church person per se.
Oh, you weren't? That's
And
interesting.
the experience, like becoming a mother and all that, I felt like I really wanted to get back into church during that period of
For
time.
yourself or for the baby?
No, for the baby, of course, because I value that lifestyle.
Right.
I value it. So, of course, I want my children to, that type of thing. So, of course, I did it but for myself mostly.
Right. So you felt the needs that I just
Exactly.
wanted to.
So I was super back in church, and that was different.
Yeah.
I wasn't like super in church when we met. So, you know what I mean? But I mean,
interesting.
at the time he understood because he's also coming from a church environment. So it wasn't completely foreign, but it was
okay.
still like, oh, this is different, you know?
So you went to church together?
No, not at the time. No.
Oh, okay.
I just went to church by myself, with my kids.
Really?
He came occasionally, but not really.
So do you feel like if you were in the church together and perhaps then you had your issues, that it would have been easier for you to work through them because you came together in the church?
Oh, you said if we came together in the church to begin with?
Yes. Do you feel like that would have helped you work through your issues?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Because he wasn't really a part of my church circle. Mm-hmm. So I guess it was like we were two separate church-going people, if you want to say, you know what I mean? So, yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think it's actually a really nice thing to find somebody within the church, especially if it's the church that you go to.
Right.
I actually think it's a really beautiful thing. But my only issue with it is I feel that there should be space to date multiple people, maybe not at the same
Without
time.
having to close the first deal you make.
Yeah, because that just gives pressure. And if I look back on my time in the church and I look at a lot of couples that I had seen in the church, they get married and then somewhere down the line it has kind of gone a bit wrong. And I feel like it's because they were so young, and it's just because there were probably issues that maybe weren't tackled because they've gone and got married so quickly. Like, you need to work through your issues first.
That's what I'm saying. I'm so torn between the being young and having different options, because in an arranged marriage, you're young. In an arranged marriage, you've never tried anything else before. In an arranged marriage, you actually sometimes don't even really know the other person at all. Maybe it's the first time you're meeting them, but those are the marriages that seem to actually like withstand.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we need to clarify the arranged marriage thing, because there are different types, right? So the ones where
the children are involved. The children, they're involved in the process with their parents.
Right, exactly. So there's this family, and this family, and you can see which guy you can kind of like think. Or there's the arranged marriage where this is the person I'm picking for you. Get married to that person, work for your issues and make it work.
Right.
A lot of those marriages actually do work.
Yeah.
Those arranged marriages where you've seen the guy 3 times and now you're getting married.
Right.
They do work.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. Actually, it's interesting to think about why they work.
I think it's because both the parents, like, it's funny, when my kids were born and then other kids were born around the same time as my kids, I was like, ooh, I like you, girl.
Yeah.
I want your son. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's a good
So
point.
imagine I'm friends with the mom. So if me and you had a baby right now together, you have a boy, I have a girl, like, I'm going to be literally coordinating with you for my life this whole time on how we raise our kids. But because we're friends, I know you're going to raise your kid a certain way. Because we're friends, you know I'm going to do my daughter a certain way. So when our kids are going to see us in each other. You know what I mean?
I get you.
They're going to see their parents.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we're similar. We have the same values. We have the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even initially, that was something when my husband and I first got married, just having those similar parental backgrounds.
Yes.
It was just so easy to connect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, my mom used to do that. My mom too. My dad did that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we had the same parents.
Yeah.
So we were raised by the same people. Like, it felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was super easy to connect. So I'm saying, if you're raising a kid, and then I know that I like the way Della raises kids.
Yeah.
I know what kind of kid my wife is or my son is going to get.
So then the marriage is more
So
likely
we can
to
manipulate them.
Literally.
Literally, no. You partially mold your children into who they're going to be.
Yeah.
They have their underlying personalities, but still the way they're raised is going to be somehow
because you know
of them.
their personality, you know their intricate little things.
So you can explain to me, listen, Rochelle, like, he gets very sensitive if you talk about his hair. You know what I mean? So then, you know what I mean? If I had to school my daughter, so now let's say they have an issue, and they're like, Mom, Della's son is he's whack. I call you, Della. Call Joey, and you know,
and so then, it's a family thing, right?
And so we're in on it together. Yes. So when we come to whatever the table or whatever discussion, you and I are both already talked about this.
Yes.
So imagine like arranged families being able to do that. So we're both like, look, you guys need to do this or this or that. This is the best way to do it, and we're approaching them with compassion. Like, your kid is not just some kid.
Yeah.
Like, this family,
like a complete stranger that you're having to now get to know. You don't know what their upbringing is like. You don't know any of that stuff. Like, you're just going in blind. You're actually this way. You're actually getting to see. Because in fact, on a previous episode, we spoke about marriage and what makes a marriage work. And he was basically, Achami Kwame was basically saying that, you know, your marriage starts from when you were young, because all the things, all your life experiences is what brings you into your marriage. And then you marry this person with the baggage that you've had from a child. And you kind of like try and make it work. You figure each other out. And actually, if you've seen all that stuff, and you know what the family has been through, and you know the family's history, then I guess it does make it easier for you to
navigate and help them navigate life. Yeah.
I think when you look at African marriages, although they do something similar, where it's kind of an arranged marriage, but not necessarily every time you know the family. Maybe within the villages, perhaps you do, but when you're coming to Accra and you're getting married and stuff like that, you may not necessarily know the background of the family. You're now coming to ask questions to understand the family background, but there's only so much that you can learn in that space, right? So actually, I think if my children are getting married, I think I'm gonna sort it.
I'm sorting it out.
Yeah,
I mean, we have to definitely be more strategic about it these days. Yeah. We have to like trick them.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think if my mum at the time would have said to me, look, I know you. This is the kind of man that you need, blah, blah, blah. I would not have listened. I would not have listened.
So you definitely have to trick them into
do
bumping
you know
into
what I
each other
mean?
at the movies.
Like, you're going the wrong way. Let's just steer you back this way, and
so
you
be
know,
like, Della, he's downstairs.
right?
Go.
Yeah, exactly. There needs to be a level of that, right? A level of interference from the family that knows you really well. But that's if your family knows you very well. Okay, if your family doesn't know you very well, this will not work for you. Okay.
And I guess if you can somehow raise your child to want to incorporate your opinion into their life and help you choose,
right?
you know what I mean? So that's the whole entire like relationship, having your child actually want your blessing or your opinion. You know what I mean?
That's very important.
I was like that. I felt like I was like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I was like, what y'all think?
I wasn't actually. I was just like, this is the person, I'm doing it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was a bit like that because, I mean, I probably still am a little bit hard-headed when it comes to certain things. You know, I've got strong opinions myself sometimes, So, yeah, I'm just like, if I have an idea and I think it's a good one, I'm going to run with it, And perhaps maybe if I had got a bit more insight, the one thing I wished I had done more of was involve my brothers. I didn't really do that. Like your brothers know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They
Why
know
didn't
you.
Were they overprotective in nature or?
No, I think at the time I probably wasn't as close to them as I am now, where I would ask them, I could now ask them their opinion. Oh, I'm dating this guy. What do you think? Type thing. Right. But back then I probably wouldn't have done that. I didn't have. Although, yes, they're my brothers, I didn't feel that I had to do that. I wouldn't have asked them.
Yeah.
But now I would, because I'm a bit wiser. I'm like, so what's your opinion? Even now, if I was to date someone, I'd ask my friends, what do you think? I wouldn't put my whole heart in it first.
Sure.
I'd be like, so Rochelle, what do you think?
You ain't even got to ask me. I'm going to let you know.
Do you know what I mean? So I would get the opinions of those that are closest to me before I make that decision to give somebody my heart.
So why didn't you regard your parents' opinion? Like why did you feel that like that? It's just because the relationship you had with them,
yeah, partly, and because I'm very much a loner, if that makes sense. I'm very much a one-man band.
You're like an outcast?
I wouldn't use that word.
Are you like an outcast? Are you black sheepish?
I wouldn't use that word exactly. It's a bit strong. But
so, yes.
I kind of I do my own thing.
Okay, so are you a bit of a black sheep?
A little bit.
Okay, so you're a black sheep.
Yeah.
Like you're just not going with the role of all the roles they want you to go with.
Right. I'm going to do what I think is best.
Right.
I'm like that. And I'm a bit tough like that. I'm very much a loner. So
does it get worse
do.
if they wanted you to be something or do something? Does it actually get more powerful how against doing it you become?
If I think it's a good thing, then I will do it. If I don't, then I won't.
Okay, then. So you didn't have a knee-jerk reaction?
No.
Where they say something and you're just automatic?
No. I just think I just look at myself and think, if it's a good idea, then I'll do it. If it's not, then I'm not doing it.
Okay, so if the suggestion was right, you go along with it.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel that it would have been important for me, especially when it comes to my brothers, to ask my brothers what their opinion is, or very close friends, what do you think, rather than...
So did your parents apply that pressure because you're in the church and you were talking to...
No, my parents weren't really involved like that. I just got married within the church family, which was fine. Like I said, I felt protected in that sense. But my only issue is I just felt like the dating pool was too small and I should have dated other people to really know what I liked and what I didn't like and that type of thing.
So did you feel pressured though? Were people Della, I see you walking around with this guy.
So because I had a motherly instinct and I wanted to get married and I wanted to have children, I was like, right, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? Instead of taking the time to take a step back and think, well, actually... even though I want to have these lovely things, let's just make sure that we're doing it the right way or that this is the right decision.
Yeah.
Because my motherly instinct was so strong. I really want to have children and I want to do it the right way. I don't want to have children outside of marriage. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So that for me was, the thing
Part
that
of the
just...
influence.
Yeah. So I felt that. But like I said, if I was to do it today again...
So you didn't feel pressure from church?
Not necessarily. Like I said, it's just the thing of the dating pool is not big enough. It would have probably
What do you
been
mean?
frowned
The dating
upon.
pool, as in the participants who are able
Yeah,
to date?
so you date in church and
There's only so many guys to choose from.
right. Like
Oh,
it's not
okay.
there's not enough of them.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole nother story in itself. But yeah.
So you didn't get what I was saying this whole time?
No. Listen, I thought what you meant was that you should get a chance to date around. Not that there's not enough boys to date.
A mixture of both. A bit mixture of
Well,
both.
they can't come up with boys, so that's going to be a little...
I know. So you can still date someone who's a Christian or whatever, but maybe go to another church or, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I never did that. I didn't even.
Oh, you
it
didn't
even
know about that?
It didn't. No, I know it's there, but I didn't actually do that. I guess I wasn't like the going out type to say, well, okay, I'm going to go to this church.
Okay,
and
well,
see.
maybe all those years
And
ago,
those- it
churches
was
didn't
different.
affiliate. But like when I was growing up, we had so many affiliate churches. Like we went to different churches. I used to be on the choir. We used to sing at different churches on the choir. Right? So we were naturally intermingling with all the other...
Oh, you were, were you?
Obviously not me.
Obviously.
I went my own way. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we were, so like within our church people got married to other people from our other like
the different
churches.
branches.
So there was a dating pool. It was still tiny in terms of men. There's still none.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So you just never had that.
Yeah, I just didn't. So I think if you're going to get married, these are things that are really important. I think you definitely need to have advice from people that are closest to you, that actually know you, right? Know and understand the kind of person that you are, your characteristics and stuff like that, before you decide to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you for coming on to talk
Thank you.
today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Can I call you an Uber?
Yes, you can. Give me those CDs.
Right. So you do a podcast on your own channel. So tell me what your channel is.
My channel is Rochelle.
And what do you podcast about?
Random stuff. There's no particular thing. We're just like conversating. You know, I'm still exploring. I don't know if I want to lock in a topic yet per se.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm just talking to people.
She's trying out the pool.
I'm not signing up the pool. Like you
She's
see,
trying
I'm not
out
signing
the
on
pool.
the dotted line.
See, she's not signing
I want to
anything
see
yet.
what my niche is before I fully decide, because, you know, I'm quite a conversationalist.
Right. Cool. Okay, well, I'll put your details into the description box so people
Thanks,
can check
girl.
you out. No problem. Well, guys, that is the end of today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think the church has a lot of influence? Do you feel that there's an age where it's too young to get married? What do you think are the things you should think about before you sign on that dotted line? Let me know in the comments section. Let's talk, guys. Let's talk about it some more, okay? Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Nutitfafa.
Nutitfafa.